It is Drive and Dive 2024. Jason just got here to Kennesaw, and we're about to leave to go to the marina to park overnight and dive tomorrow. You fired up?
I am excited. I'm excited. This has been a long time coming.
Me too. It's on, and now the drive. So we stopped at Buc-ee's, and we got our pictures taken with old Buc-ee's mascot, so that's happening. And now we're back on the road. So this is the first as we get going onto the highway again. Jason is driving Demi, the van. Jason's got a phenomenal idea of doing a pizza crawl based off of a guy he follows on YouTube. So I am excited to add that flavor to the trip. As it stands right now, the weather is nice, the road is smooth, and Drive and Dive is underway. Georgia, Florida! Woo, bitches! What are we doing, dude?
We're shopping Pop-Tarts in Fort St. Lucie, Florida.
We're about 50 miles away from West Palm. Needed to get some groceries before the place closed. So, the adventure continues. And we made it. 9:55 after a couple of stops and gas and all that stuff. But we're here at the marina where we're gonna pick up tomorrow and go diving. Weather's looking good. It's like currently 68. And how do you feel?
Yeah, feels good here. Feels really good. Nice ocean breeze.
Heck yeah. Here we go.
It's Sunday, April 13th, and we are parked up at Phil Foster Park right underneath the Blue Heron Bridge. Jason and I dove yesterday, got 3 dives in with Pura Vida. The sun was out, but the conditions were kind of chilly. The temp got up to 77 degrees, which feels warm, but when the wind is up, getting in and out of the water, wet, all that stuff, I was freezing yesterday. Had a good couple of dives. We actually got to go out on our dives. This is the first time in 2 years that at least one of them wasn't canceled. Then we picked up our tanks and weights so that we can be good to go for this bridge dive here at Blue Heron Bridge. After we turn our gear in back to Pura Vida, we'll head down and camp at King's Camp. We're going to be diving with Christian. We're doing a guided dive here at Blue Heron Bridge, but everything is fine. The van is performing well. I'm going to spin around because we are currently parked in Phil Foster Park right outside the bridge, and we're chilling before our dive starts at like 12:30.
If you know me, if you really know me, you know that I can stare at Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of it for hours, and just watch him review the same pizza over and over again for hours. So Wayne really knows me, and we decided on this trip we're going to do some pizza reviews of some of the things that he's reviewed really high in the areas that we're doing our diving trip on. So we went to Hot Pie Pizza in West Palm. So the box is really light, so that's always a good start. So it looks good. It looks pretty good. I think so. All right, so this is my first pizza review also, but I do believe I know how to review pizza pretty well now. So decent undercarriage there. That's pretty typical for a coal fire pizza. A little floppy, which that's not a big deal to me. But here we go. One bite. Everyone knows the rules. You hear the crunch? That was really good. Okay, so I really wanted to see what a 7.5 looked like. I sent a picture to my son. He was like, it looks like a Papa John's pizza. I was like, it kind of does look like a Papa John's thin crust pizza, but it does not taste like one. It really has its own unique taste. You can taste that it's cooked in an oven, not just a conveyor belt type of thing. He gave it a 7.5. I would probably give it a 7.1.
Oh, yeah.
On your left, going in, you're coming back out from the bridge. Yeah. Get some shallow work up on your right shoulder.
Got it.
Back up. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
And I'm flat, like every other dive professional here, all in black. And so I had the deep, recognizable
Well, we just completed the dive at Blue Heron Bridge. Got like an 88-minute dive. Saw some really cool things. just dropped our tanks off at Pura Vida, and now we're on our way to King's Camp in Key Largo. Gonna stop and get some cod fritters, but right now it's travel time. Morning. It is Tuesday, the 16th of April, and driving dive day number 3. Currently stationed up at a Starbucks having breakfast, kale and mushroom egg bites. Yesterday we dove the Spiegel Grove with Rainbow Reef, and it was a top 10, no joke, top 10 dive. The conditions were phenomenal. Weather was great. There was very little current, very high visibility, and we got to do some pretty good swim throughs. Our dive guide yesterday was Matthew, and once we got through the first dive, all that, he really treated us like adults, which was great. The dive boat was super full. It was like a nightclub. So we are going to anticipate the same thing today, but we've got a good amount of dives today. We got 4-day dives, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Then we're going to do a night dive and probably grab some Waffle House afterwards. For dinner last night, we went to the Conch House. Jason got lobster mac and cheese, which was phenomenal. And if I was going to do that again, I'd probably have the same thing. I ordered the lobster and conch ceviche, and it was bomb. We are posted up in the parking lot of Rainbow Reef, going to do a couple of dives today before heading out to Key West. Yesterday, we did 5 dives total. Started off on the Spiegel, and then we hit up the Duane, and then we did a drift dive. On the Spiegel, we saw, actually on the Duane, we saw some good wildlife. There was a turtle just chilling in the middle of the deck, and the swim throughs were fun. My favorite swim throughs are still on the Spiegel. That's a pretty cool boat with lots of different options. After today's dives, we're going to go to Key West, and we'll be diving with Fins on the Vandy for a couple dives. And we got 2 nights in Key West, and then we'll start making our way home. Jason and I have been putting in some work on the dives. Both of our ears are kind of junky, so we're going to get some Sudafed, try to clear those things out, and make sure that we can continue on as much diving as we can. So we've had some good luck on some of our dive groups that we were with, and then last 2 days we've had some not so great luck. Most interesting one was there was a from Team Europe, a mother and son, or a really spicy cougar situation going down, and they just wouldn't get in their gear quick enough, into the water quick enough, and I'm not talking about racing, I'm just talking about like common courtesy, don't hold the rest of the boat up slow. And then when we were going down on the down line, the woman kept letting go of the down line, and the poor dive guide, who was relatively soft-spoken anyway, was about to lose her mind. I felt bad for her. Then coming up last night on the night dive, there was a young girl, probably in her 20s, and you could tell when she got on the boat and it was about to get dark, when folks are asking like, where do I put my weights, is night diving scary, those are all the questions you don't want to hear when you're going on a night dive. And she got in the water and panicked, and it was lights everywhere in everybody's face because she was just having a hard time. Poor thing got out, and she was fine on the ride back. One of my favorite parts of night diving is watching the shift change between the things that are out on the reef for the day and then the things that come out at night. And we saw tons of crab, lobster, bunch of turtles. Towards the end of the dive, we were swimming, and there was like a big old loggerhead turtle, probably 100 years old, barnacled up, just swam right through the group like, hey, y'all in my neighborhood. That was probably my second favorite dive of this trip so far, first being the very first day on the Spiegel. We're about to finish up breakfast and then get checked in for our dives today. We're at Rainbow Reef, and then we'll head out to Key West.
All right, Wayne and I stopped for some pizza. We're on probably the 3rd leg of our dive trip, and we stopped for some pizza at Crust Pizza in Key Largo. So we're really excited to try this next. So we had a guy on the boat. His name is Brian. Old guy. You're sitting there thinking, old guy, probably pretty good at what he does, probably knows this shit. No, not at all. That was crawling over Wayne and I both, and during the entire dive, it was horrible. Then it got even worse when we got on the surface. He just was crawling to try to get back on the boat as fast as he could through everybody, just with brute force. It was absolutely horrible, but we got through it. We adjusted on the second dive for Brian. We made accommodations for Brian just to get out in front of him so we can beat him back on the boat. So we're at Crust, Largo. After a full day of diving, we're gonna dive into something. So this shit is hot. I want to burn my face. Oh my god, it's delicious. Very good. The sauce is delicious. The cheese is really good. I haven't gotten to the basil much, but the crust is really good too. Look at that crunch right there. That is amazing. I'm gonna go 8.7.
Wow, what a day. It is Thursday the 18th, about 10:30 at night. Jason and I just got back from night dive on the Vandy. We did 2 dives this evening, both of them on the Vandy. One was a twilight and one was a night dive. The diving experience with Finn's Dive Center, it was phenomenal. You know, no frills shop, but they take care of your gear. They wheel it down to the marina, and we dove this morning. 2 dives on the Vandy, really great conditions. Dove with Nick, who was the dive guide, Justin, who's a retired Special Forces operator, now coming in to be a dive operator in Key West. Learned that Finn's is essentially a veteran-owned agency, and just do a really good job of taking care of us. It's like a mile from Boyd's Key West campground. Very easy to get into, get out of. The diving was amazing. This morning's dive on the Vandy was really cool. The conditions were great. Not a lot of current. Saw some lionfish on the first dive. And then when we came back up, Nick, the dive guide, asked us if we wanted to spear some, because lionfish are the invasive species that we're trying to eradicate. So Jason was like, sure, I'll do it. And we went down on the wreck for the second dive and just ended up spearing the crap out of some lionfish. Jason, when he speared one, I'll show some video of a green moray eel kind of following him. And when he speared the first one, it ended up biting the dang lionfish off the end of his spear. So it looked like he came up with nothing, but what happened was he hit it, and the moray eel took it from him and ate it. That probably happens a lot, because that moray was kind of big. He'd been fed. Then we went around the rest of the hole looking for lionfish, and I decided to spear one as well. The trick is to get really close to it, because they don't have any natural predators. They just kind of fan out with their fins and just kind of sit there. So get really, really close, and then let the spear fly into it, so you make sure you get a good clean kill. We ended up bringing up 6 lionfish, and we gave them to Nick, the dive guide, and he's going to fillet them up and have some good food. From there, we came back to the campground, plugged the van up, took an Uber into Duval Street, had some great cracked conch and fries, walked around Duval Street a little bit, just had a really good afternoon, and came back to the van and caught a nap before we jumped in our night dives. We were originally just the only 2 people on the night dive, but 2 other folks signed up for it. So when we went out tonight, it was me and Jason, and then another pair of 2. They were a little bit flaily and kind of all over the place. We didn't get to do everything that we wanted to do on the night dive on the Vandy. In any event, the weather here has been phenomenal. Next time we come, we're thinking of doing a dry Tortugas trip with fins. That'll take us out to on a day trip, leaving at like 7 in the morning, boat out to the dry Tortugas, do 3 dives, and then come back, getting us back in at like 5 in the afternoon. That would be a phenomenal experience. Tomorrow morning, we will go pick up our gear from Finn's, load them up in the van, and then drive to Key Largo for the afternoon dives that we'll do before finding our way somewhere back home. All right, we just wrapped up at Finn's, got our gear packed up, tied down, ready to go from Key West to Key Largo. Now for what looks like is going to be another beautiful drive back up to Rainbow Reef. We'll see you guys on the other side. And that's what you get coming out of Key West. Dude just copping a piss right there. It's 3:15 and we're still driving. Jason and I have switched off back and forth about 2.5 hours from my house in Kennesaw, and I think we're gonna make it. Don't recommend it, but this has been an interesting way to finish off the trip. It's been great. It's 5:45 and we just pulled up in the driveway in Kennesaw. We put in work getting home. It's like the theme of the trip was work. We worked diving, we worked road tripping. Really solid trip. Gonna get Jason situated, gonna crash a little bit, and then we'll get on with our lives, man. Hell of a trip, dude.
Yeah, man, had a great time. We look like bears right now.
Yeah. Later, y'all.
Bye.